The epic stuff is cheaper now, so a lot of people have been asking, how does that change things in terms of what you should get and how you should progress? The simple answer is that it really shouldn't change anything. The very simple consequence of cheaper epic stuff just means that you can buy the same things by spending less. It does not mean that you should spend the same amount or buy more items. I think people are massively over-investing in their epic stuff personally, especially their weapons, but I'll get to that in a minute. For now, I would say the one thing that does kind of change is that compared to mechs like Aegis or Redeemer, which got a 50% price reduction, and you can see their upgrade cost is also reduced by a bit. This used to be 20,000 for the first level, and some number of blueprints, I don't remember what, but now it's a little bit less than 10. You might have noticed Panther was reduced by only 35%, and so it costs more to buy Panther than it does to buy the likes of Aegis, for example. It also costs more to upgrade it. So, in general, because Panther is now more expensive comparatively, it's still way cheaper than it was, it's still a good mech to get, but it's more expensive and costs more to upgrade compared to other epic mechs. This is probably one that you would maybe consider skipping, or if you do buy it, you definitely wouldn't want to upgrade it. In general, Orion's going to be the best one to upgrade because it's the best epic mech just in general, and it costs less than Panther does, so that's a good note. Sentinel also got reduced by 65%, so it costs way less comparatively, and is also comparatively a lot cheaper to upgrade. This is about as costly as a rare mech, so they essentially made this cost the same as rare mechs do at rank 4, which is, yeah, pretty cheap, but it's Sentinel, you shouldn't do that. In terms of anything else, it's basically half as much as it used to be. The same thing with the weapons. A lot of the weapons are like 60-70% price reduced, and that's great and everything, but if you actually do the math, here's the thing, is that a lot of people are seeing this as an opportunity to be like, okay, well, now that things are cheaper, that means I can buy more things. It doesn't mean that, or at least it shouldn't mean that. You should not be spending resources on epic weapons, especially. Just taking a quick look at my hangar, I used not a single epic weapon, and I have not used a single epic weapon in a long time. I'd have to buy and rank up an epic weapon probably like 2 times. I'd have to get it to like rank 6 before it's even moderately comparable to a lot of the legendary ones that I have. And the problem with that is that, well, yeah, now it's cheaper, but most people, let's say before the price reduction, let's just make a comparison here. Most people would buy their Zephyr for like 300,000 credits, and then they would upgrade it to level 7, and then they just keep it there, right? So you can do that now. You can do that a lot cheaper. With the same number of credits, you save like 150,000 here. You save like 130,000 with the upgrades as well. If you were to put that 150 plus 130, it would only get you like 5 extra levels. Because each level costs more than the last, and they keep stacking on top of each other, what seems like a really good investment, like, oh, now I can get Zephyr to rank 6 really easily. But no, if you were to get it to rank 6 now, it would have been more expensive than if you were to get it to rank 5. So I don't think most people were willing to get it to rank 5. So you probably shouldn't be willing to get it to rank 6 now, right? So it's still not really worth upgrading a lot of these things. A lot of these things that weren't worth upgrading before, they're still not worth upgrading. Especially for weapons, like I said, because in order for, let's say, an epic weapon in general to perform about the same as a legendary, it has to be 1 rank higher. So the damage per shot, let's just check the stats here. We'll just check the damage per magazine. So 61,000 at rank 6 versus Storm Rack 12, 63,000 at rank 5. So it has slightly lower reload speed, sure. So like maybe you could get missile rank to like rank 5 level 7 or rank 5 level 6, but still the TLDR, what I'm trying to get at is that epic weapons being worse than legendary stuff just by default, because that's why they're a lower grade, is because they're worse, right? Let's just be real about this. In order to make them just as good as legendary ones, you need to upgrade them more. You need to get them from rank 4 up to rank 5, in a lot of cases up to rank 6 even. And that costs you way more than you otherwise would have spent. And the total cost of that is about as much as you'd have to spend on, let's say, a legendary weapon, which it has a lot more long-term value. So I'm just here still chilling using the exact same legendary weapons I was using before. And now that it's great to be able to buy other epic things. I bought Sentinel on stream yesterday, so that's cool. But yeah, and it's not a bad idea to buy, especially epic mechs. A lot of these epic mechs are very nice, especially before you get upgraded to tier 7. I unlocked tier 7 on stream yesterday as well. While you're saving up for these, the best option that you have are epic things, and they're relatively cheap now. Really great to buy them. It's really good to buy Aegis, Orion. Redeemer is a decent one, especially for Hangar Showdown. Panther is okay, but it's a little bit more expensive now comparatively. Zephyr is a good one as just like a counter to certain things. You know, all of these mechs are decent with the exception of like Cheetah and Sentinel, right? And that's always been the case. And so it's nice to have this repricing, and it's nice to be able to spend less resources doing that. However, I would warn you against using the repricing as an excuse to overinvest in some epic stuff that is not actually going to benefit you. Because like I said, you can spend the same amount that you would have spent getting it to rank 5 Ascent, for example. Now that it's cheaper, it's really only affording you a couple extra levels. And a couple extra levels on a weapon is really not that much. For each level, it increases my HP by about 2.5%. This is a general pattern that I've found over the years. But let's 69, nice, divided by 68. 1,000. What do we have here? We find that this HP, if I upgrade it one time, is exactly 2.5% higher than its base HP. And this is the case for pretty much everything. Every level is about 2.5% buff compounding. So you could take this and you could put it to the 6th power. This is how much it would buff you by after 6 upgrades. So about 16%, right? If I were to get my Orion from rank 4 level 1 to rank 4 level 7, I would only be about 16% stronger in terms of HP. And the same thing goes for weapons. It's not a big deal. It's really not a big deal. You're still better off investing in legendary mechs and weapons in terms of long-term value and just in terms of general value, especially when it comes to these two. A lot of people are seeing the epic price reduction as a means to replace their revokers with ember guns. It's a terrible idea. You absolutely should not ever do that. Revoker is much, much better against actual players, and those are your main threat, right? You should not optimize versus bots. You should optimize your hanger to be as effective as possible versus other players. And so you're going to keep revokers in your hanger. And yeah, maybe you make a second close quarters build, but you really shouldn't, right? Unless you're in tier 7 and you have something like Surge or maybe even Eclipse. Like, there's really no reason to make a second close quarters build. Oh, but RuFFles, I have kill shot. I can dash in and no, don't do it. You're gonna freaking die immediately. It's kill shot doesn't survive anything. RuFFles, but I have Redeemer. Like, Redeemer's not that fast. Redeemer can't close distance. Redeemer doesn't want close quarters weapons either. The only valid exception I would say is Tengu, because Tengu does kind of require to be a close quarters mech. So like, if you really wanted to, then Tengu. But even that, like, I wouldn't recommend it realistically. But then the other thing is like Storm Rack. You have Storm Rack, it's really good. People are thinking of investing in missile racks now because missile racks are a similar weapon, but they're a lot cheaper than they used to be. Again, though, I have to warn you, you know. Now this one is maybe a little bit more up to you, but I'll just explain a concept that I was talking about on stream the other day. Is like, I have these right here, right? And I could buy missile racks, or I could even rank up my Storm Rack 10, right? I could rank up my Storm Rack 10 so I can use a 10 and 6 on 2 different builds. But then, like, point out to me which build would be better with Storm Rack 10 and 6 or with a missile rack build. Point out which one. This one would be worse. This one would be worse. This one would be worse. This one maybe close to the same. This is usually an Aegis. An Aegis would be a lot worse, but even still, you kind of want a guided type weapon. It's not a guided weapon per se, but it has homing. So like, all of these builds are specifically designed to give me things that I need, and I don't need to double down on a weapon like Storm Rack. Even though Storm Rack's really strong, I don't need to double down on it. My hanger just does not require that. And so it's a thing that I would caution people against. Like, just because Missile Rack is essentially a budget Storm Rack does not mean that you necessarily should go out of your way to buy all of them right now, right? It's not necessarily going to be helpful. Even as it is, I could buy them and it wouldn't really benefit me at all. Let's say you're really dedicated to buying and investing in some epic weapon because you just really want to celebrate the repricing of epic stuff by spending every penny that you own. Sure, in that case, I would say your best bet is Helix Rack and either Nade or Cryo Launcher. I hear Cryo Launcher is extremely cheap to upgrade the 16 anyway. So if you're going to upgrade anything, I would upgrade one of those 3, simply because those are weapons that give you relatively unique mechanics. There's a legendary version of Helix Rack that's basically Strike Rocket, but that's not something that free-to-play players have access to, right? So the only reasonable up and over guided type weapon option that you have is Helix Rack. The only free-to-play option that you have is Helix Rack. So at that point, yeah, sure, go ahead and invest in Helix. It's not a bad weapon either. Same thing with these two, right? They serve unique functions and they're not bad weapons. But again, I think at the end of the day, for the most part, you don't really need to invest in them. I would take this opportunity to just stockpile some extra resources, frankly, but if not, then at very least I would put your resources into specific things, most specifically mechs, most specifically Orion, right? Orion, maybe Redeemer if you're one of those Redeemer fans, but that's about it in all honesty. For the sake of argument, I'm in tier 7 right now. Eventually I'll get Eclipse, eventually I'll get Surge, I'll maybe get Brick House as well, but that's only 3 mechs. I'd still have to keep 2 of these in my hangar, right? So we could assume maybe I keep the Orion and the Aegis or something like that. While I'm saving for those, I could be investing in some of my epic stuff, but even still, let's say I want to rank up my Orion because I think Orion's super strong. I could rank it up. I have the means to probably get it to rank 5. If I had more Acorns, I could definitely get it to rank 6. But I mean, what does that benefit me really? It gives me a bit of extra HP, but Orion's really squishy anyway. Doesn't give me more speed. It doesn't increase the effectiveness of my ability, and it gives me more energy capacity, which equates to more firepower, which is one of the main reasons you should be ranking things up. But I can only use these railgun anyway. So in order to make use of the rank ups on the Orion, I have to also buy new weapons to fill that extra energy. And I don't have it, right? I'd have to spend like a bajillion A coins to get Railgun 12 if I really wanted to do that, which is not going to happen for a really long time. So what I'm trying to say is that even by investing in all of these things, it does not increase my effectiveness by that much. A lot of my effectiveness is tied into my energy capacity. If I were to get Aegis to rank 5, that would give me 18 energy. I could use a Podgun 10 and 8. The Podgun 10 costs credits, but I'd then have to buy the Podgun 10. I don't own it, right? I would then have to buy it. So that would cost me an extra 800,000-ish credits just to get 2 extra energy of firepower and maybe 30% extra HP. It's a lot of resources to make a very, very, very small difference to your hangar overall. So when it comes to that, I always say purchases are more effective than upgrades, and that's pretty much always been the case. The only reason I've upgraded the Lancer is because the ability is just extremely useful. And even still, this is the best that it's gonna go, right? I can't upgrade this more. I could optimize it slightly by putting on better pilot, upgrading the weapons, putting on better mods, but comparatively it'd be extremely expensive and it really would not increase my effectiveness by that much. And so the Lancer's essentially on its last legs, right? If I progress a whole lot more, this Lancer's gonna stop being useful pretty quick. And the same thing eventually at some point is gonna happen with epic stuff, especially epic weapons. So yeah, it's just a couple things that I wanted to say, not as a warning against buying epic stuff, but just as a warning against over-investing in it, because it's easy to over-invest in it now that it's cheaper. I would just be careful about how much you're spending and what you're spending it on. As always, as I've always said, just because you can afford something doesn't mean that you should do it. I can easily afford to get my Orion to level 7 if I wanted to. And that's been the case for a long time. Even before the reprice, it only took 265,000 credits, I think. So I could have easily upgraded 2 of my epic mechs with these credits even before the reprice. Now I could probably upgrade all of them to level 7. But at the end of the day, it does not actually benefit me that much. So I save my credits instead. I can put these credits towards something better. And that is what I recommend everyone else do. But of course, you could do things however you want. It's just kind of my 2 cents. Anyway, I do know that this repricing has been very helpful to a lot of people. My free-to-play Gear Hub guide is pretty much still the same, like I mentioned at the very start of the video. The stuff that I thought was good before is still good. The stuff that I thought was bad before is still bad. Just because it's cheaper doesn't mean it's now worth buying. But otherwise, yeah, that is going to be it for me. Appreciate y'all. Take care.